Hello, welcome back to my channel, Christian Faith and Fiction. My name's Lou, and today we are going to be having a look at the new Christian fiction books that are coming out in September 2021. Hey, how you all doing? I've been looking through the list of books I've got that are coming out in September, and I've separated them as always into different genres, and I will read out the first paragraph of each book so that you can get a taste of what is in the book. But if you want to know more about them, I'll leave a link to the blog post that I've got, and that should tell you the full description and give you a link to their Goodreads pages. In historical fiction, there's The Mistletoe Countess by Pepper Basham, and that releases on the 1st of September. Mistletoe is beautiful and dangerous, much like the woman from Lord Frederick Percy's past. So when he turns over a new leaf and arranges to marry his estate instead of his heart, he never expects the wrong bride to be the right choice. Grace Lynn Ferguson never expected to take her elder sister's place as a Christmas bride, but when she's thrust into the choice, she will trust in her faithful novels and overactive imagination to help her not only win Frederick's heart, but also to solve the murder mystery of Havensbrook Hall before the ghosts from Frederick's past ruin her fairy tale future. The Healing of Natalie Curtis by Jane Kirkpatrick releases on the 7th of September. Classically trained pianist and singer Natalie Curtis isolates herself for 5 years after a breakdown just before she was to debut with the New York Philharmonic. Guilt-ridden and songless, Natalie can't seem to recapture the joy music once brought her. In 1902, her brother invites her to join him in the West to search for healing. What she finds are songs she'd never before encountered, the haunting melodies, rhythms and stories of Native Americans. A Midnight Dance by Joanna Davidson Politano releases on the 7th of September. All theatre romances are tragedies. Ella Blythe knows this. Still, she cannot help but hope her own story may turn out different than most, and certainly different than the tragic story of the Ghost of Craven Street Theatre. Yet as she struggles to maintain her tenuous place in the ever-shrinking ballet company, win the attentions of principal dancer Philippe, and avoid company flirt Jack, Ella cannot deny the uncanny feeling that her life is mirroring that of the dead ballerina. The Wish book Christmas by Lynn Austen releases on the 7th of September. Best friends Audrey Barrett and Eve Dawson are looking forward to celebrating Christmas in post-war America, thrilled at the prospect of starting new traditions with their 5-year-old sons. But when the 1951 Sears Christmas Wish book arrives and the boys start obsessing over every toy in it, Audrey and Eve realise that they must first teach them the true significance of the holiday. In romance, A Christmas in the Alps by Melody Carlson releases on the 7th of September. After a time of heartache and loss, Simone Winthrop discovers a tantalising letter from her French great-grandmother, which seems to suggest that she is heir to a family treasure. Ever practical, Simone assumes the claim is baseless, but her best friend encourages her to find out for sure. Despite her deep-rooted fear of flying, Simone boards a jet to travel to Paris at Christmas time to uncover the truth. Since You've Been Gone by Tari Faris releases on the 7th of September. Leah Williams is back in the quaint town of Heritage, Michigan, and ready to try again to make her business a success. But blank slates are hard to come by, and a piece of her past is waiting for her there. Heir to the Heritage Fruits Company, Jonathan Kensington is the guy who not only made Leah's past difficult, but he also seems determined to complicate her present as well. The Heart of Splendid Lake by Amy Clipston releases on the 14th of September. Brianna is the youngest of 3 Porter sisters and the only one who chose to stay in the small town of Splendid Lake, North Carolina. She followed in her father's footsteps and became an expert boat mechanic, helping him run in their small resort with cabin rentals, a convenience store and a marina. When Brianna's father unexpectedly dies, Brianna is steeped in grief and guilt, Len left alone to clean up the mess. To make matters worse, a constant stream of real estate brokers begins marching through her property, offering to buy the family land. In particular, she keeps running into handsome real estate mogul Scott Gibson. In contemporary fiction, The Secret Keepers of Old Depot Grocery by Amanda Cox releases on the 7th of September. In the present day, after tragedy plunges her into grief and unresolved anger, Sarah Ashby returns to her childhood home determined to finally follow her long-denied dream of running Old Depot Grocery alongside her mother and grandmother. But when she arrives, her mother Rosemary announces to her that the store is closing. In 1965, Glory Ann confesses to her family that she's pregnant with her deceased fiancé's baby. Pressured into a marriage of convenience with a shopkeeper to preserve the family reputation, Glory Ann vows never to love again. So that's a dual time story. Cherished by Kim Cash Tate releases in audiobook for the first time on the 7th of September. At least I think it's in for the first time. It's an older book, but it's going to come out in audiobook. Before healing can begin for Kelly and Heather, they need to believe they are worth cherishing. Kelly London once dreamed of being a songwriter. As crazy as it seemed, she hoped God would use the lyrics that came to her even while she slept. Heather Anderson's life has spun out of control. First an affair with a married man, then one night stand with the drummer of a popular Christian band has left her devastated. So that book description focuses in on the two main female characters, but there may be romance in there as well in that story. In fantasy and sci-fi, Elite by Kristen Young releases on the 14th of September, and this is book 2 in the Collective Underground series. Where do you find safety when your world is falling apart? I'm not going to read the rest of that because it's book 2, and I think that's probably going to contain some spoilers for book 1, which I haven't read, and if you haven't read it, we don't want to be spoiled for it. So moving on to mystery and suspense. I didn't have many mystery and suspense books to put on, so I had a look around on Amazon to see if there are any independent ones coming out, and I came across this next one, The Ever After Mysteries. And this one's called When the Pilot Falls by April Heyman, and that releases on the 7th of September. In 1923, there aren't many pilots, but Willie LeBeau didn't let that stop her. A bear of a man, Hugh Taylor, needs a stunt plane pilot, and despite their rocky introduction, Willie sets off for Golden, California, and a new life as his pilot. There's just one little thing she has to do in addition to flying: leave his past alone, period. When the flame of her own curiosity becomes fanned by encouragement from Willie's sister, the feisty pilot can't help but do just a little investigating, and Hugh vanishes. So the Ever After Mysteries are retellings of like older types of fairy tales. This one is a retelling of East of the Sun, West of the Moon, which is not one that I'm familiar with, but there's a whole series of them if you want to go and look them up. Trace of Doubt by Diane Mills releases on the 7th of September. 15 years ago, Shelby Pierce confessed to murdering her brother-in-law and was sent to prison. Now she's out on parole and looking for a fresh start in the small town of Valleysburg, Texas. But starting over won't be easy for an ex-con. FBI Special Agent Denton McClure was a rookie fresh out of Quantico when he was first assigned the Pierce case. He's always believed Shelby embezzled $500,000 from her brother-in-law's account, so he's going undercover to befriend Shelby, track down the missing money, and finally crack the case. And finally, in poetry, which is unusual in the Christian genre, God Speaks Through Wombs by Drew Jackson releases on the 14th of September. But God speaks through wombs, birthing prophetic utterances. Enough of this unbelieving religion that masquerades as faith. Divine favour is placed on what we have disgraced. In God Speaks Through Wombs, Drew Jackson explores the first 8 chapters of Luke's Gospel in a new poetic register. These are declarative poems, faithfully proclaiming the Gospel story in all its liberative power. Here the gospel is the fresh words that speak of things impossible. From the Magnificat that girl can sing, she has a voice that can shatter shackles. To the baptism of Christ I stepped in, committing insurrection. This collection helps us hear the hum of deliverance against all hope that has been in the gospel all along. And incidentally, if you know of any other collections of Christian poetry that you've read and you can recommend, do leave it down in the comments. So those are the books that I could find for September 2021. If you have any other ones that you're interested in, please do leave them in the comments below so that we can all share in your suggestions. Also, let me know if any of those books sound interesting to you and you'd like to read them. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed or shared or commented or liked my videos. I always appreciate the encouragement, and I'm always looking to create more of a community here on my channel. I hope you have a really great reading week. Until next time, God bless. Bye.